If you have a website, which everybody does, that website is going to affect the way that every single person in your organization does business, which means that SEO affects the way that every person in your organization does business. There is not a department and there is not a person on your team that SEO doesn't touch or influence in some way.
If Google's not able to properly index your content, that's always a high priority issue, right? So it's like looking at things like, can you see like in the index coverage reports, can you see things where it's like, hey, it says crawl but not indexed, or it says covered but not indexed, for whatever reason it's getting caught in Google's filters. Like those are always extremely high priority situations, right?
Putting a couple of $1,000s into a PPC campaign to just understand the visibility is a good investment. And it's not like you're throwing that budget away. You could still be potentially making sales. Even if it doesn't have an ROI, even if you get back what you pay, you've got that data for free effectively.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Eli Adams. This week's episode is going to be a little bit different than the rest of them that you've seen up to this point. And the reason is because it's just going to be you and me this time. And all of the episodes up to this point, aside from the very beginning intro, have been interviews with experts in the digital space. We've talked about Facebook ads, we've talked about organic social media, we've talked about SEO, we've talked about paid search, we've talked about influencer marketing, we've talked about brand and storytelling and how to identify your audience and digital experience and AI with digital product management and how it relates to the end user experience and AI with SEO and AI with, we've talked about so many different topics up to this point in the digital space, which have been amazing. And I want to, at this time, bring you a new series that is specifically about SEO. So I have been in the digital space for quite some time. If you've listened to my first episode, and even throughout some of the other episodes, I touch on this, but I built my first website in 1998, my first e-commerce website in 2003, 2004 timeline. I took a little bit of a break, went into retail management, and then for about the last 17 years have been doing digital marketing the whole time. In the beginning, it was a primary focus on SEO. I remember building my first website, going to Yahoo because Google wasn't really that big at that time, going to Yahoo and looking for directories and looking for different ways to SEO my website, which it really wasn't a thing back then. I just knew if I wanted to rank, I had to get more external visibility, and that's what I was doing. And so then growing throughout my career, I worked at an SEO agency, and then when I went and did in-house SEO for some other companies, and that grew into leadership positions where I managed paid search and email marketing and digital product management and some other areas of digital. What I see in the industry right now, I see a handful of things. I see up-and-coming SEOs who are sort of misled, and I don't think it's intentional. I think that they're going to these trainings and conferences and downloading ebooks and going to YouTube, and they're being trained on some of the most basic aspects of SEO. And not that they don't work, because they're needed. Some of them are foundational, some of them are good, but I feel like a lot of SEOs are sort of capped at that point. I feel like they don't go beyond in their education. Once they learn, hey, let's do title and meta optimization, let's do keyword research, let's do X, Y, and Z, and that's about it. There's so much more to SEO than just those basics. And especially once you get into some of these bigger sites and enterprise sites and international SEO, you have to understand some of the development side of things. You have to understand how SEO impacts all areas of the business. It impacts reputation management. It can impact, if you have a sustainability campaign, if you have different branding campaigns, anything else, SEO impacts that. SEO is not just its own channel now. It works with paid advertising. Paid advertising works with SEO. You can use the data you get from both to help the campaign. So it's not just siloed anymore. And that's what I see from the SEO side of things. The agency side of things, I see some very lazy SEOs, I guess, on the agency side of things. And again, this may not be intentional. I've worked at agencies and I understand how, you get these clients in so fast that it's almost like a conveyor belt. You do this task, you do that task, so on and so forth down the line. And they don't actually look at the client's website and see what's going on. The audit is very basic. The audit is, do you have 404s? The audit is, do you have internal linking? The audit is on title and meta tags. And then you send this report that is almost so generic that you can really go to Ahrefs or SpyFu or SEMrush and just export that report now. It just doesn't add a lot of value to the client. And so I have people coming to me who have been burnt by agencies, and they're just very timid about starting with another agency. And it sort of breaks my heart because I feel like there's so much that can be done from an agency side to help people if these SEOs would really just like take it one or two steps further than what they were trained for. So from an SEO standpoint, I'm doing this series because I want you as an SEO person to really understand there's more to SEO than these basics. I want you to go above and beyond for your clients, for your in-house companies, and whoever you're working for, right? I also want agencies to step it up. I want them to stop putting people through the conveyor belt and actually care about the clients and their websites and dig in and find out what's actually going on. Maybe a third part to this is to help business owners and VPs of marketing, those who are looking for agencies or in-house people, to sort of be aware of what to look out for. If you're a business owner and you go and interview a couple of agencies to try to get them to do some SEO for you, I want you to know about SEO. I want you to know the ins and outs of it. I want you to at least at a high level be aware of the capabilities that do exist out there in the market. Not all agencies are bad. There's a ton of really, really good agencies out there. But I have had clients come on board that they have told me their SEO agency pretty much flat out told them that SEO is dead. Now the AI is out, now that, things are changing on how the search engines look, there's nothing else they can do for them. And that's hard to hear because after 10 minutes of looking at the website, it's easy to see there's a lot to do that they just weren't doing. So either way, I am bringing you this SEO series to help in those three different areas. I've taken a lot of time compiling this list, which originally started out as a series of 10, now has grown beyond 30. I have 27 absolutely for sure confirmed topics with people, and I have another 13 that I have invitations out that we're going to find people to talk about between now and the end of the year. And I'm telling you right now, these experts are legitimate experts. There are people who have been in the industry for many years. There are people who really care about their craft. When they do SEO, they do it with so much care, with so much energy, with so much knowledge about what they're looking for and how they hope to help people with this SEO service. And when I say I have experts from around the world, I'm not joking. Let me look at my list and tell you some of the areas we have people coming from. So I interview people from Hong Kong, from England, from Pakistan, from Germany, from Thailand, all around the world. And then all over the United States. There are some from Minnesota, some from Utah, some from Washington, some from Nevada, Philadelphia, Texas. Let's see, looking down my list, I think I forgot Spain on the other one. Either way, the point is that we have people lined up from all around the world and experts in their space. They either own agencies or they work for an agency or they do in-house or they're consultants or coaches or auditors in the SEO space. And if you hang around towards the end, I'll give some of the names. We'll have a few shout outs. And I'll probably even pull some clips from some that we've already recorded. We've already recorded about 13 of these episodes that are getting edited and ready to go. So if you stick around, I'll share some of those names towards the end and maybe some of those clips so you can see really what I'm talking about. The other thing that I wanted to make sure of is that we talk about very fine-tuned topics. We do have some episodes that are a little bit high level. They talk about, SEO 101, and I wanted that to be the very first one so that you could sort of build that base. If you're not in the SEO industry, you need to know what is coming, right? And so we talk about SEO 101. Some of the other topics that we talk about that I try to be very intentional about so that you can either go to the one you want to learn about or you can watch them all and just learn a plethora of stuff about SEO. So let me read from my list some of the topics we're addressing. International SEO, enterprise SEO, SEO and AI, SEO for B2B, SEO and social media, mobile SEO, content and SEO, SEO and user experience, SEO and search engine algorithms, technical SEO, corporate America and the struggle SEO has fitting in. I also have a group of people who have been in the industry for a long time who jump on an episode and we talk about, if you are an SEO in these 3 different areas, here's how you get hired. So the first area is, maybe I'm just graduating from college or high school and I want to jump in at an entry-level position. How do I get hired at that entry-level position? We talk about, if you are an SEO and you want to be promoted to leadership in SEO, you do X, Y, and Z to be prepared for that. And then we talk about director level and up. If you want to go beyond director level and become a VP and C-level in SEO, what steps you need to take. And this is sort of 4 of us who have interviewed, between the 4 of us, we've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people over the last 15 to 20 years for SEO positions. And we feel like we have a pretty good grasp on each of those areas. And so hopefully that'll add some value to some of you SEOs out there as well. Some of the other topics that we're going to look at is e-commerce SEO, local SEO, SEO and website maturity audits, SEO for SaaS companies, competitor analysis in SEO, uncommon tactics that still work in SEO, neural marketing and SEO, and the psychology behind how you place things on the page and what it does to your brain to help with that conversion. Either way, I don't want to bore you with the whole list of things. I'll actually put the whole list on my website and we'll create a category page where all of them are listed out so you know what is already launched and what is to come. But I hope that sort of excites you. You can get on a podcast and listen to somebody talk about SEO, but I don't know that there is a podcast out there that lays out every single one of these topics in SEO and gets an expert, somebody who's been in the field for a long time doing it, someone who's helped lots of clients in different industries and different business types and business models. And so I'm hoping that that can add some value to you. So because we have so many lined up, over 30 episodes that are lined up, I don't want to span them out over the next 6 months. So what I'm going to do is, the plan is to get them all edited and ready to go so that I can post 2 per week. So I'll post on Tuesday and I'll post on Thursday. So every week you should get 2 new episodes around SEO. Now, let me give you a brief on the format of the podcast, just so you're kind of aware. We do the first section, we talk about who that person is. We talk about where they were from, what they want to be when they were little, how they go from there to getting into the digital marketing world. And a lot of that is to humanize them. Some of you who are listening right now may think, oh, I want to learn more SEO, or I'd love to do this for my business, but I'm just not a digital person. I'm just not as smart as, so-and-so, and I can't do that. But you'll see from different types of backgrounds, there's lots of different backgrounds from different parts of the world and different struggles, and it really humanizes them. And hopefully you'll think, if they can do it, I can do it. So that's the first part. The second part is what are you currently working on that excites you? And we've had some really fun conversations around that, which also lead right into the third part, which I think is the meat and potatoes of the podcast. It's the area I think that probably most of you come to listen to. And that is the tactical and strategic section. So that's where we dive deep into a specific topic. And the person that I'm interviewing is teaching you everything they know about that topic so that you can, as an SEO, learn either something you don't know, take a different perspective than you had before, or if you're a business owner, you can learn and implement it on your own, or you can know the type of person to hire, or the type of agency to hire, or the types of questions to ask when you're hiring an in-house or hiring an agency. So I'm hoping to post 2 times per week, and we should have enough content to get us all the way throughout the whole entire end of the year, probably even into January. Hopefully that'll add some value in a more condensed way. We're going to put this podcast on pretty much all audio podcasting platforms. So Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, pretty much everywhere you can get audio versions of podcasts, it's going to be on there. We're also going to put this on YouTube, the full version, as well as snippets. We're going to have YouTube shorts. We're going to cut out, 10-minute segments about some of the tactical things that are really good. That if you don't want to listen to the whole podcast, you can just go to that section and learn about that one topic. We're going to post a bunch on social media. We currently have active pages on Instagram. We have active pages on LinkedIn, both for Fire Us Marketing and the Digital Revolution podcast. We'll post on a couple different other platforms. We'll send out email marketing. So if you haven't signed up for our email list, go to the Digital Revolution podcast. At the top in the navigation, click on podcast. You should get a pop-up that invites you to go to that list. If not, scroll to the bottom and there is an option to add yourself to the podcast list so that when we have podcasts come out, I will notify you. Now, I'm not going to send an email every single episode, so you're not going to get 2 emails a week. But what I may do is every week to 2 weeks compile and say, here are the 2 to 4 new ones that came out. Here are some clips. Here's some fun topics about them. Go check it out. So now let me introduce you to a few of the people who are going to be on the podcast. I'm not going to list every single one of them, but I think if you are in the industry and on LinkedIn, you might recognize some of these people. Some of them are pretty big on LinkedIn. Some of them are pretty big on YouTube and in our industry. So you may not be starstruck, but at least this will validate the quality of episodes that we're going to have and the amount of value that's going to be put out there. A lot of these people are on LinkedIn. They have between 15 and 150,000 followers because they post almost every single day. They give free content, free advice, free everything on LinkedIn. If you just go follow them on LinkedIn, which by the way, after every episode, we're going to post a blog post that highlights the episode. On that blog post, you'll have the audio version, the video version, and then a blog post highlighting all of the topics we talked about. At the bottom of that blog post, I'm going to link to all of their contact information. So if you want to get in touch with them on LinkedIn or on their website or whatever, you're welcome to do that. So now here are a handful of people we have on the podcast. So we have Allison Wong from Hong Kong, who is going to be talking to us about international SEO, and she's been doing that for a number of years. She's amazing. She worked with me in my last company, and I can't say enough good things about Allison, so I'm looking forward to that. Brian Wood is going to be on the podcast talking about enterprise SEO. Now, this guy is brilliant. He's worked for huge companies that have 50,000 to 100,000 pages on their website, and he knows the enterprise SEO industry like nobody else that I've ever seen. So it's such a fun podcast. Jacob Andra is exceptional when it comes to SEO and AI and some of the tools that he is building in his agency to help people like you use AI to better your SEO, to audit your SEO, to analyze your SEO. It's just simply amazing. We have Sophia Tyson from England, and she's going to talk about SEO and B2B. We have Ari Mason from here in Utah, talks about how social media and SEO go hand in hand and how they can help each other. We have Hasnan Nawaz from Pakistan, who talks about mobile SEO and how you optimize first for mobile and then for desktop. We have Steven Schneider up in Washington, who talks about the importance of content in SEO. And I'm telling you, in this episode, he lays out from top to bottom on that page, from the URL down to the footer, what you need to be aware of on one page, the whole site, off-site, everything with content to optimize your SEO in the best way. We have some fun ladies out in England, Lauren Irwin and Lucy Williams, who talk about SEO and user experience. And they work at this agency. They sit and they look at each other all day long. And they are so excited about the combination of SEO and UX. And they have these processes where they work together or they work alone doing their own, and then they compare them with each other and they say, here's what we're willing to give on, and here's what will change, so that the whole plan comes together and works out. And it's so fun to talk to both of them on this podcast and get their different perspectives, some of the things they disagree with, some of the things they just love about this dynamic with SEO and UX. We have Kristen Sackinger from Las Vegas, where she breaks down search engine algorithms. And if you don't know what a search engine algorithm is and you're in the SEO industry, you have to listen to this podcast because she breaks it down, what's important, what's not important. Some of these SEOs look at things like EAT, which is important in certain areas, but she calls out how Google specifically came out and said it's not a ranking factor. So when these SEOs get hired to consult or at an agency, help these clients, and that's what they focus on, saying this is going to solve all your problems, it's not. Okay, so in certain areas it's important, in certain areas it's not, but it is not a ranking factor. So if you follow all the processes for EEAT, it can better you in certain areas, but it's definitely not going to help your keywords rank better than if you were to do something like link building or on-page or content or something like that. So we have Chris Long out in Philadelphia, where he breaks down technical SEO. If you're not following Chris on social media and on LinkedIn, go do that right now. This guy puts out a number of posts every day, breaking down very specifically technical SEO tactics and examples from other big companies and analysis that he's done for companies. And the amount of free knowledge he gives is incredible. So if you're not following him, go follow him. He's going to be a guy on LinkedIn that if you're in the SEO industry, you're going to save all of his posts and come back and look at them and reflect on them a lot. So lots of really good value from that. We also have Kavi Cardos from Texas. So we talk about the struggles of getting SEO recognized in corporate America as a channel that is just as important as the other digital marketing channels. We have Martin McAndrew from out in England as well. What a fun podcast we had with him talking about e-commerce SEO and looking at some of the struggles e-commerce companies have and how they overcome those. Look, I could keep going on and on and on and on with how many amazing people we have on this podcast, but I hope that gives you a glimpse of how fun this series is going to be and the amount of detail that's been put in the planning to make this super valuable for you guys. So again, I'm sorry that it was just me talking. We didn't have other fun people jumping in and out and talking and stuff, but I wanted to really emphasize the importance of this series that's coming out. So between this episode that you're listening to right now, starting next week, we are going to start posting with SEO 101, where we have John Huntinghouse breaking down the basics of SEO 101. And he lays the perfect foundation. Like, you have to understand the foundation before you build upon it, right? So you don't want to miss that episode. It sort of lays the foundation for the rest of them. And then from there, every Tuesday and Thursday, I'll be posting 2 episodes per week until the end of the year. And then I'll do a recap at the end of the year. And we do have a special guest coming on towards the end. I haven't solidified the exact date, but I have got a commitment from this guest, and I'm telling you, if you're in the industry, you'll know this name. There's not a single person in the SEO industry who will not know this name. He, at one time, I'll give you a little hint, at one time ran a very large company in Seattle that helped the majority of you get into SEO. I'll just leave it at that. And hopefully we can solidify a date towards the end of the year to get him to come on and sort of finalize all of this, sort of put a bow on top of it. So I'm really, really excited about that. And anyway, so if you have not gone to the YouTube channel and subscribed, please do that right now. Go to YouTube and just type in Fire Us Marketing. You can look for this logo, or you can type in the Digital Revolution podcast and it should pull up as well. It's on the Fire Us Marketing channel in the podcast tab. So look for that, subscribe, click that bell. And the reason I say that, if you're listening to this on audio as well, is because that's where we're going to do a lot of the short clips. Not just the 60-second ones, but the 5-minute ones, the 10-minute ones. We're going to pull these videos apart. We'll have the full-length one there as well. So thank you so much for hanging around and listening to this episode of the Digital Revolution podcast. I appreciate the support that you have given me up to this point in listening and watching the podcast and subscribing to the channels and, following or downloading on, Spotify, Apple. Leaving reviews on Apple has been great. I appreciate all of the fun comments that have come through and helped shape what we have today. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And real quick before I wrap up, if you are in the SEO industry and you can think of a topic that maybe I didn't already mention that should be talked about in the SEO world, please hit me up on LinkedIn. You can find me under Eli Adams. And on most social platforms, you can find me at The Real Eli Adams. For easy access to the whole podcast SEO series, I'll put a link right here. And if you're interested in seeing some of the top hits from the podcast, I'll put a link right here. So thanks again for taking the time and listening to this episode, and I look forward to talking to you next week.